Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome, 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 welcome. How you loving, how you loving, how you loving. Whoever wrote the book of Exodus doesn't like animals. That's the conclusion that I've come to. We're reading the entire Bible, and right now I have a furry friend right next to me. Her name is Luna. She is the family cat. I'm visiting my family. If you are new here, we are reading the entire Bible, including the Apocrypha and parts of the Pseudepigrapha. I am Reverend Valerie Love, also known as Kaisi, and I am the author of 26 books on practical spirituality, including the brand new book being released very soon on Kickstarter. The real God is not in the Bible. The Bible is not a spiritual book. The Bible is not a holy book. The Bible is not a sacred book. The Bible is not from God. God doesn't have a holy book. God doesn't have books. God doesn't have rules for you. Radical. And this is a radical departure from what I was taught. Welcome. Come on in, come on in, come on in. How you loving, how you loving, how you loving. So we are today at Genesis. I just want to still be in Genesis. We are at Exodus 9 through 11. Let me get Luna on camera for a moment. Come here, Luna. On camera for a moment. Say hi to the people, Luna. Luna, say hi. And then go, okay, bye, Luna. Because she's, you know cats. As soon as you open your computer, they lay right on top of it. Like, what is going on here? And she thinks that this is a string, so she has to chew at it and go for it. Okay, so there you have Luna, and Luna is the perfect intro to Exodus 9 through 11. I want you to pay attention specifically to how many plagues affect animals. Whoever wrote the book of Exodus, I'm convinced, and you cannot unconvince me, they don't like animals. How's our sound? Sound check. Sound check. Because we're going into Exodus 9 through 11. Sound check. How is the sound? And welcome. We're so glad you're here. Why are we reading the Bible? Not because we think the Bible came from God. We're reading the Bible because we want to determine for ourselves what the Bible is without outside intervention, with no outside pressures. We get to read the Bible and take it at face value as it is, as literature. How's my sound? Before we begin our reading for today. Come on in, come on in. It's so good to see you as always every morning. Sounds great. Excellent. Hey Dia, how you loving? All right, let's begin. Exodus chapter 9. We are reading from the World English Bible. It is a public domain Bible. I've tagged it here on YouTube for you, and you are most welcome to buy it from this YouTube tag if you like. I think I have Walmart there and Barnes and Noble for you. If you would like a public domain Bible, we are not reading copywritten Bibles. Then Yahweh said to Moses, "Go into Pharaoh and tell him, this is what Yahweh, the God of the Hebrews, says. Let my people go, that they may serve me. For if you refuse to let them go and hold them still, behold, Yahweh's hand is on your livestock, which are in the field, on the horses, on the donkeys, on the camels, on the herds, and on the flocks, with a very grievous pestilence. Yahweh will make a distinction between the livestock of Israel and the livestock of Egypt, and nothing shall die of all that belongs to the children of Israel. Yahweh appointed a set time, saying, tomorrow Yahweh shall do this thing in the land. Yahweh did that thing on the next day, and all the livestock of Egypt died. But of the livestock of the children of Israel, not one died. Pharaoh sent, and behold, there was not so much as one of the livestock of the Israelites dead. But the heart of Pharaoh was stubborn, and he didn't let the people go. Yahweh said to Moses and to Aaron, "Take handfuls of ashes of the furnace, and let Moses sprinkle it toward the sky in the sight of Pharaoh. It shall become small dust over all the land of Egypt, and shall be boils and blisters breaking out on man and on animal throughout all the land of Egypt." They took ashes of the furnace and stood before Pharaoh, and Moses sprinkled it up toward the sky, and it became boils and blisters, breaking out on man and on animal. The magicians couldn't stand before Moses because of the boils, for the boils were on the magicians and on all the Egyptians. Yahweh hardened the heart of Pharaoh, and he didn't listen to them as Yahweh had spoken to Moses. Yahweh said to Moses, "Rise up early in the morning and stand before Pharaoh and tell him, 'This is what Yahweh, the God of the Hebrews, says. Let my people go, that they may serve me. For this time I will send all my plagues against your heart, against your officials, and against your people. You may know that there is no one like me in all the earth. For now I would have stretched out my hand and struck you and your people with pestilence, and you would have been cut off from the earth. But indeed, for this cause I have made you stand, to show you my power, and that my name may be declared throughout all the earth. Because you still exalt yourself against my people, that you won't let them go. Behold, tomorrow, about this time, I will cause it to rain a grievous hail, such as has not been in Egypt since the day it was founded, even until now. Now, therefore, command that all of your livestock and all that you have in the field be brought into shelter. The hail will come down on every man and animal that is found in the field, and is it brought home, and they will die. Those who feared Yahweh's word among the servants of Pharaoh made their servants and their livestock flee into the houses. Whoever didn't respect Yahweh's word left his servants and his livestock in the field. Yahweh said to Moses, "Stretch out your hand toward the sky, that there may be hail in all the land of Egypt, on man and on animal, and on every herb of the field throughout the land of Egypt." Moses stretched out his rod toward the heavens, and Yahweh sent thunder and hail, and lightning flashed down to the earth. Yahweh rained hail on the land of Egypt. So there was very severe hail, and lightning mixed with the hail, such as had not been in all the land of Egypt since it became a nation. The hail struck throughout all the land of Egypt, all that was in the field, both man and animal. And the hail struck every herb of the field and broke every tree of the field. Only in the land of Goshen, where the children of Israel were, there was no hail. Pharaoh sent and called for Moses and Aaron and said to them, "I have sinned this time. Yahweh is righteous, and I and my people are wicked. Pray to Yahweh, for there has been enough of mighty thunderings and hail. I will let you go, and you shall stay no longer." Moses said to him, As soon as I have gone out of the city, I will spread out my hands to Yahweh. The thunders shall cease, and there will not be any more hail, that you may know that the earth is Yahweh's. But as for you and your servants, I know that you don't yet fear Yahweh God. The flax and the barley were struck, for the barley had ripened, and the flax was mean. But the wheat and the spelt were not struck, for they had not grown up. Moses went out of the city from Pharaoh and spread out his hands to Yahweh, and the thunders and hail ceased, and the rain was not poured on the earth. When Pharaoh saw that the rain and the hail and the thunders had ceased, he sinned yet more and hardened his heart, he and his servants. The heart of Pharaoh was hardened, and he didn't let the children of Israel go, just as Yahweh had spoken through Moses. Exodus chapter 10. Yahweh said to Moses, Go into Pharaoh, for I have hardened his heart and the heart of his servant. May show these my signs among them, so that you may tell in the hearing of your son and of your son's sons, what things I have done to Egypt, and my signs which I have done among them, that you may know that I am Yahweh. Moses and Aaron went into Pharaoh and said to him, This is what Yahweh, the God of the Hebrews, says. How long will you refuse to humble yourself before me? Let my people go, that they may serve me. Or else, if you refuse to let my people go, behold, tomorrow I will bring locusts into your country, and they shall cover the surface of the earth, so that one won't be able to see the earth. They shall eat the residue of that which has escaped, which remains to you from the hail, and shall eat every tree which grows for you out of the field. Your houses shall be filled, and the houses of all your servants, and the houses of all the Egyptians, as neither your fathers nor your fathers' fathers have seen since the day that they were on the earth to this day. He turned and went out from Pharaoh. Pharaoh's servants said to him, How long will this man be a snare to us? Let the men go, that they may serve Yahweh their God. Don't you yet know that Egypt is destroyed? Moses and Aaron were brought again to Pharaoh, and he said to them, Go, serve Yahweh your God. But who are those who will go? Moses said, We will go with our young and with our old. We will go with our sons and with our daughters, with our flocks and with our herds, for we must hold a feast to Yahweh. He said to them, Yah with you, if I let you go with your little ones. See, evil is clearly before your faces. Not so. Go now, you who are men, and serve God and serve Yahweh, for that is what you desire. Then they were driven out from Pharaoh's presence. Yahweh said to Moses, Stretch out your hand over the land of Egypt for the locusts, that they may come upon the land of Egypt and eat every herb of the land, even all that the hail has left. Moses stretched out his rod over the land of Egypt, and Yahweh brought an east wind on the land all that day and all night. And when it was morning, the east wind brought the locusts. The locusts went up over all the land of Egypt and rested in all the borders of Egypt. They were very grievous. Before them there were no such locusts as they, nor will there ever be again. For they covered the surface of the whole earth, so that the land was darkened, and they ate every herb of the land, and all the fruit of the trees which the hail had left. There remained nothing green, either tree or herb of the field, through all the land of Egypt. Then Pharaoh called for Moses and Aaron in haste. And he said, I have sinned against Yahweh your God and against you. Now, therefore, please forgive my sin again and pray to Yahweh your God that he may also take away from me this death. Moses went out from Pharaoh and prayed to Yahweh. Yahweh sent an exceedingly strong west wind, which took up the locusts and drove them into the Red Sea. There remained not one locust in all the borders of Egypt. But Yahweh hardened Pharaoh's heart, and he didn't let the children of Israel go. Yahweh said to Moses, stretch out your hand toward the sky, that there may be darkness over the land of Egypt, even darkness which may be felt. Moses stretched out his hand toward the sky, and there was a thick darkness in all the land of Egypt for 3 days. They didn't see one another, and nobody rose up from the place for 3 days. But all the children of Israel had light in their dwellings. Pharaoh called to Moses and said, go, serve Yahweh. Only let your flocks and your herds stay behind. Let your little ones also go with you. Moses said, you must also give into our hand sacrifices and burnt offerings. May sacrifice to Yahweh our God. Our livestock also shall go with us. Not a hoof shall be left behind. For of it we must take to serve Yahweh our God. And we don't know with what we must serve Yahweh until we come there. Pardon me. But Yahweh hardened Pharaoh's heart, and he wouldn't let them go. Pharaoh said to him, get away from me. Hold on. Be careful to see my face no more. From the day you see my face, you shall die. Moses said, you have spoken well. I will see your face again no more. Footnote to Exodus 10:19. Red Sea is the translation for the Hebrew Yam Suf, which could be more literally translated Sea of Reeds or Sea of Cattails. It refers to the body of water currently known as the Red Sea, or possibly to one of the bodies of water connected to it or near it. Exodus chapter 11. Yahweh said to Moses, I will bring yet one more plague on Pharaoh and on Egypt. Afterwards, he will let you go. When he lets you go, he will surely thrust you out altogether. Speak now in the ears of the people, and let every man ask of his neighbor, and every woman of her neighbor, jewels of silver and jewels of gold. Yahweh gave the people favor in the sight of the Egyptians. Moreover, the man Moses was very great in the land of Egypt, in the sight of Pharaoh's servants, and in the sight of the people. Moses said, this is what Yahweh says. About midnight, I will go out into the middle of Egypt, and all the firstborn in the land of Egypt shall die, from the firstborn of Pharaoh who sits on his throne, even to the firstborn of the female servant who is behind the mill, and all the firstborn of livestock. There will be a great cry throughout all the land of Egypt, such as there has not been, nor will be any more. But against any of the children of Israel, a dog won't even bark or move its tongue against man or animal, that you may know that Yahweh makes a distinction between the Egyptians and Israel. All these servants of yours will come down to me and bow down themselves to me, saying, get out with all the people who follow you. And after that, I will go out. He went out from Pharaoh in hot anger. Yahweh said to Moses, Pharaoh won't listen to you, that my wonders may be multiplied in the land of Egypt. Moses and Aaron did all these wonders before Pharaoh, but Yahweh hardened Pharaoh's heart, and he didn't let the children of Israel go out of his land. If you came here for the reading of the Bible, there you have it. If you came for the commentary, let's get into it. Whoever wrote the book of Exodus hates animals. They hate animals, and I don't like that. They piled up all the frogs and killed all the frogs. That wasn't nice. What did the frogs do? First, they summoned all the frogs. They created all these frogs. They brought all the frogs. Then they killed all the frogs. What was that about? That wasn't nice. We need frogs. That's probably why the flies came, because y'all killed the frogs. The frogs would have eaten the flies. Anyway, I digress. Next thing you know, let's dissect this, because the thing is absurd. Let's dissect this step by step, plague by plague, because I have been wanting to get to this part of the Bible for a long time, because I freaking love this part of the Bible for its phantasmagorical nature. It's phantasmagorical, and to this day, people still believe it, and they're actually in a war over these books. They're in a war over what we are reading right now. And future generations will look at it and say, those people believed the 10 plagues actually happened? Yes, because Passover will come soon around spring. We are approaching spring. We are approaching the spring equinox. For those who are nature lovers, earth lovers, those who honor the season cycles of the sun, the moon, the earth, all of the powerful forces that we are connected to. And we honor this on the spring equinox. We even have a ritual for it next Friday, 1 week, less than 1 week. Ooh, Friday on the spring equinox. Easter will be coming soon. And Passover. Passover is based on this. Passover is a whole experience globally that is based on what we are reading right now. Meditate on that. Don't think about it. Meditate on that. That is a very fascinating thought. Now let's go to the plagues. There's something I want to show you in here. And I had not seen this until the incredible Bible scholar Bart Ehrman pointed this out. And I thought, oh my goodness, this is insanity. Okay, so here we're up to plague number 5. And Yahweh's hand is on the livestock, on the horses, on the donkeys, killed all of the animals. That's what it says, right? And he did that thing, and all the livestock of Egypt died. They're gone. There are no animals at all. Horses. So where did they get the horse-drawn chariots from to chase the Israelites later on? Yahweh killed all the horses. Okay. He killed all the livestock. Okay. It says here he killed all the donkeys. He killed all the camels. Why is he going on a rampage killing all these animals? This is a horrible story. Do not read this story to your children. If there were any book in Barnes and Noble, in the public library, in school, that told you someone or something went around and deliberately slaughtered all the animals, would you put that material in front of your children? Hell to the nah. I'm telling you, do not let the Bible should be rated 18 and over. maybe 21 and over, maybe 40 and over. You know, in the Jewish Kabbalistic experience, you could not learn Kabbalah unless you were a man who was 40 years or older with a wife. You had to be married. Being married, uh, in many ways, put a stamp of approval on you, because if a woman said yes to you, if you were able to get a woman to say yes to you, okay, then you pass one of the tests. But if you're not married, no woman said yes to you, there's a problem. It's almost like a litmus test. Can you get a wife? Well, if you can't get a wife, something is clearly wrong here. Okay. And he had to be over 40. I sort of feel the same way about occult sciences and mysteries. One's consciousness must be developed to some level in order to even be able to read these words. Who would love a God that would kill all the animals? For what reason? For what purpose? The animals have nothing to do with these people. And you might say, here's the devil's argument against this, right? Maybe this makes it horrible for the Egyptians to kill all the animals. Maybe. Yet, this is God. You can't make it hard for the Egyptians. It's so mechanical and it's so manual. I have to take away your animals. But you're supposed to be the God of the entire universe. You're supposed to be God. Clearly, you're not. Okay. It gets worse. But now the children of Israel, they get to keep their animals. Not one died. Clearly, let me come off screen share for a moment and share this. Let me come off screen share and say this. Clearly, this is a grandiose piece of religious and political propaganda. That's what we're reading. We are reading a grandiose piece of literature that is religious propaganda and political propaganda at the same time, because to many of these people, the religion and the politics are one and the same. That's the case for many around the world. The religion and the politics is one and the same. It's even the case with Tibet, because the Dalai Lama is the temporal and spiritual ruler of the Tibetan people. In many places, the spiritual ruler is also the temporal ruler. They were the form of wealth at that time. Absolutely, Dia. I think they spoke about taking out the animals because they were the form of wealth at that time. That is an excellent point. Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, Petra, this is an interesting point. Yahweh hardened Pharaoh's heart and keeps sending Moses back and forth, back and forth. But why? This is exactly my question. And supposedly, the answer to this, so I'll show you. That's the answer. The answer is, I'll show you that I, the God of the Hebrews, it's all about me. I'll show you. I'll show you. That's, he said that's what it's about. All this death and destruction and carnage, particularly of animals, is all about, I'll show you. Now, let me ask you a question. Let's go back. We're in political and religious propaganda. Let's go back and let's continue the story so that we can look at the specifics of the story. We're picking this story apart. Okay, now, the next thing you know, how is it, how is it, how is it that boils break out on man and on the animal when there's no more animals? We just read, you unalived all the animals. We just read that. You unalived all the animals except the Israelites' animals. You named them, all the livestock. And besides the livestock, the livestock is like the sheep, the goats, things like that. Livestock, bulls, all of that. Cows, which is sacred to Hathor, to the goddess in Egypt. Then you killed all the horses. Then you killed all the donkeys. Then you killed all the camels. Then you killed all the herds and you killed all the flocks. Okay, livestock, let me back up. Livestock, because I did just go to the rodeo, so I ought to know what livestock is, right? Livestock is like the bulls and the cows and all of that. Now, the flocks and the herds, I believe the flocks would refer to the sheep and the herds would refer to the goats. But we can look it up and find out. Either way, it's a total wipeout of all the four-legged friends. And now you're telling me we're going to put on boils, and the boils are going to break out on man and animal. What animals? Dogs and cats. What's left? You just told us you unalived all of them. Okay, okay, there's more. Next, we go down here, and there's going to be hail. And bring the hail inside because bring the hail inside. Bring the livestock inside into shelter because if it's not brought inside, it's going to die. But wait a minute. Wait a minute. The livestock are supposed to be gone. Okay, this is the livestock of the Israelites. Okay? Bring your, because big hail is coming. So I'm assuming because Yahweh said to Moses, rise up and say to Pharaoh, let my people go. But indeed, because and behold, tomorrow, this time, I'm going to bring hail. And all of your livestock and all that you have in the field be brought into shelter. The hail will come down on every man and animal that is found in the field and isn't brought home, and they will die. I don't understand this. This is insanity. How did I ever believe this shit? Okay, let me go further. Okay, those who feared Yahweh. Okay, so if you fear Yahweh, among the servants of Pharaoh, made their servants and their livestock flee into the houses. Those who feared Yahweh's word among the servants of Pharaoh made their servants and their livestock flee into the houses, but they didn't have any more livestock. Whoever didn't respect Yahweh's word left his servants and his livestock in the field. Okay, so here we go again. Stretch out your hand. Hail on man and on animal. Whoever wrote Exodus hates animals. I am absolutely convinced. Okay, now let's go further. Then this is magic hail. This is magic hail. No different from the river of fire where Mr. Frodo has to put the ring. No different. It's a magical river of fire that will destroy the one ring to control them all, because this one ring is so powerful that it just corrupts anyone who tries to hold it. This one ring. And this one ring has to go into the fires of Mordor. It's a magical ring, and this is a magical river that can devour the ring. Please tell me the difference between that and this, because I don't see any difference, none whatsoever. Magical hail that falls in one place but not in the other place, even though you don't have to be magical for hail to fall on one side of the street, not on the other, because we've seen that before. So I think they're taking natural phenomenon, things that they've seen, and they're making it into a plague. It's good grist for the mill to say the hail, this is magical hail. The hail knows where to go because Yahweh told the hail, only go here, but don't go here. Okay, now, here's my next question. There's more, there's more, there's more. There's more, unfortunately. There's more. Okay, we keep going. And besides the fact that they're going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, that part is so obvious. And hardens his heart, and then he softens, and then he hardens, and then he softens, and he back and forth. This would be the most horrible Pharaoh ever in existence if this Pharaoh did exist. He never existed. There is zero record of this anywhere in Egyptian history. Zero. And that's simply not, pardon me, an omission because it was an embarrassing thing to the Hebrews. That's there is no archaeological evidence of it either, hard evidence. There's no hard evidence of any of this. Not just that the Egyptians didn't write it down because this would have been very embarrassing for them. So, of course, we have the argument of embarrassment, which says that if I put something embarrassing in this is one of the criteria that critical scholarship uses, the embarrassment argument. That if I write something that's embarrassing to me, we might be able to think that it's more true because it's embarrassing to you to write that down. So if we just use that argument and say that the Egyptians didn't write any of this down because it was just so embarrassing to them, there was no record of it either anywhere, even though Egypt is were like the Sumerians. Every damn thing was documented. We still have shopping lists from Egypt, shopping lists, marriage contracts, death. Do they have death records like for pharaohs and famous people? Everybody else died. It wasn't a big deal. We have the minute nature of what would be recorded with regard to the Egyptians. They recorded every damn thing. Nothing about this. No high priest wrote about it. No, just a glaring absence. And of course, devil's advocate again, absence of evidence does not equal evidence of absence. True. And let's look then at the archaeological record and see if we can find anything where these events purportedly happened. There's nothing. There's nothing. There's nothing. There's nothing. There's nothing. This entire story is fabricated. The entire thing. From Moses, not a real person. Most historians agree. Even Dr. Joel Baden, who is a Jewish man himself, who is professor of Hebrew Bible at Yale Divinity School, said this exactly. These are his exact words. The Bible wasn't written for us. That's one. Two, no one who was writing a Bible knew that they were writing a Bible. They were writing literature. Three, nothing in the Bible about Moses is historically accurate. Is historically accurate, remotely plausible or true. He said it's not even remotely plausible that there was such a person as Moses, and this is a Jewish man. Moses never existed. Dear. I feel like Dia is my co-host. I feel like it kept turning out to be an illusion, and that is why Pharaoh kept hardening his heart. He was pissed off that he fell for another magic trick, so he typed, that could be it. It could be. He always acted like a movie director. He keeps telling Moses, "Go do this in front of Pharaoh," but I'm going to harden his heart so he won't listen to you. Wait, you're telling me to go do this thing, and you're telling me in advance it's not going to work. Wait, what are you just pimping me? You're telling me in advance, go do this thing, but it's not going to work because I'm going to make sure that he doesn't like you and he doesn't do anything you say, but tell him anyway. Wait, you setting me up. Wait a minute. You gave me the magic tools. You're setting me up for a fail. You were setting me up to take a big L. Why? Because you want to look great? Let's continue. But wait, there's more. There's more. There's more. Okay, so here we are. The hail. Okay. Now, after the hail, this is very fascinating. Here comes, the hail killed, all the trees and the plants and everything, and killed everything again. Okay, now the locusts come and they eat everything that the hail didn't get. Okay. Now we're up to the children of Israel asking their neighbors for gold and silver. This is very fascinating to me. Where is this part? I think this part is it here. Yahweh's this story is hilarious under investigation. I can see why Bible scholars are in divinity school scratching their heads like, we're supposed to teach this when we go back to our churches? Yes, this is the religion. This is what happened. Okay. And right there, some became atheists right there. They couldn't do it. And some were like, oh, okay, I get it. But they went back and they didn't tell their members of the church. They never told their members of the church any of the things they learned in divinity school about archaeology and no evidence for any of this. Anyway, let's continue. How is it that Israel is supposed to be in this protected land of Goshen? Only your neighbors, your only neighbors would be other Israelites, according to the story. How is it that you are now turning to your neighbor? You're a slave, and you were a slave, and then you got taken over to the land of Goshen. How is it that you're asking the Egyptians for gold and silver because Yahweh gave the people favor in the sight of the Egyptians? And the Egyptians are still your neighbors. How can the Egyptians be your neighbors if you're not near the Egyptians? Maybe they came back from the land of Goshen and came in to get the jewels and the gold. Why do you need silver and gold? You have Yahweh. Yahweh is going to give you everything. Why do you need silver and gold? Now, if a Pharaoh's son died, which did happen, Akhenaten's son Tutankhamun, also known as King Tutankhamun, he died. The boy king, his grave is his well, it's not a grave. His burial chamber was intact when it was found, and it had the most elaborate, extensive, most adorned grouping of gold, silver, treasures that anyone had ever witnessed up until that time. King Tut's tomb. Absolutely magnificent. So here's what's going to happen. Um, the firstborn are going to die. However, the firstborn of livestock, we're back to the livestock again. We're back to the livestock again. They don't have any livestock. How is it that now Yahweh is going to kill the firstborn of the livestock? Okay, here's the deal. We're about to get into some other territory. Seminary will do it, won't it? Seminary will do it. When you find out truth, truth will dawn in your mind and blast away the beliefs that we had held to. Truth, the burning, searing light of truth. Okay, here's one other thing. Remember yesterday, and let me give credit to the scholar who taught me that there were three plagues that killed the animals. Like they just keep killing the animals over and over and over again. Three plagues. And I never knew that. I read these plagues before. They told me, read your Bible, but I never read that before. And I said, wait a minute. Bart Ehrman was the professor, he's an incredible scholar. Bart Ehrman, he's a scholar of the New Testament, and he knows, of course, the Old Testament extremely well. Bart Ehrman brought it up, and I went back and I read it now without the blinders on. When they talk about scales falling from your eyes and now you can see, that's exactly what we're talking about. Scales fall from our eyes and we can see that there were three plagues that killed the animals. So now either this God is forgetful, he's he has amnesia, clearly. He bumped his head. Maybe Yahweh bumped his head wherever he is out in the wilderness, and he forgot that he already unalived the animals twice, and he's saying it again. And Moses is just in fear. He doesn't want to remind him. If there was a comedy spoof of this, I would love to see it. I might ask the AI to make a comedy spoof of this. Moses reminding Yahweh, you already killed it. There's no livestock for the first. I'm going to bring the death of the lives, the firstborn of everything, firstborn of Pharaoh, firstborn of the Egyptians, firstborn of the livestock. Excuse me. I just want to say something about this plan. You already killed the livestock. Let's go further. There's more. There's more. Remember yesterday when I said that the Christians came up with this bizarre idea to explain why we have these 10 really strange plagues? Their idea about to explain the plagues is even more bizarre than the plagues themselves. I pulled it up on ChatGPT. Let me share it with you. You will love this. You will love this. I promise you. You'll love this. Hold on. I'm going to show you exactly what. Okay, here we go. I found the page. Let's go on screen share. You will love this. And remember, this is what people are fighting over right now. What you are reading right now. This is what people are fighting over. Just understand. Here is my. Okay. I've heard Christian apologetics claim that the plagues were aimed at specific Egyptian deities. I find no basis for this conclusion after having, so you have to give AI the context because it may start off in Kansas and you're in New York. Hey, AI, I'm in New York, you're in Kansas, come over here. I find no basis for this conclusion after having visited Egypt twice for extended periods of study and visit to temples and ancient sites. I have to let the AI know you were talking to a person who has studied Egypt for years. I don't find any basis for this because it's going to try to tell me the mainstream story. And I'm telling it, I don't believe the mainstream story because I know too much to, I've been in the place. So you will not be able to keep putting the wool over my eyes. I also find the connections to be grasping at straws in an attempt to address the obvious strangeness of the plagues themselves and why they do what they do and in that order. Am I wrong? I didn't ask it. Please agree with me. I want to find out why I'm wrong. Your skepticism is very much in line with mainstream critical scholars. The popular claim that each plague targets a specific Egyptian god is largely considered a modern apologetic construction, not something supported by the biblical text or by Egyptology. The Bible doesn't say it, nor does Egyptology say it. They made it up. Most academic biblical scholars and Egyptologists say there is little to no textual or historical evidence that the plagues were designed as a one-to-one polemic against particular Egyptian deities. And I promise you, if the Bible scribes had that weapon in their arsenal, they would have used it because these people were bent on writing religious and political propaganda. This entire piece is a my God is better than yours. Look how he's going to make you we're going to make you the villain, Egypt. And we, the ones who are loved of Yahweh, you will suffer because of us. We will be distinct. We will be taken care of. Our livestock will be taken care of. You will do what God said. And first, Yahweh, the Yahweh of the Hebrews. It keeps saying God of the Hebrews, not the God of anyone else. And Pharaoh, you will know, and all the Egyptians will know that I'm the big daddy and you're not. And then we're going to walk out here with your gold and silver and leave you with nothing, leave you with no animals, no livestock, no gold and no silver. And each time we bring a plague, this plague is on the goddess Nut. This plague is on the goddess Geb. This plague is on God thought this plague is for. Trust me, if the scribes had had that in their arsenal, they would have used it. The Bible itself does not identify specific gods. The plague narrative in the book of Exodus never says this plague defeats X Egyptian god. This god is being judged. The closest thing appears in Exodus 12:12, which says, I will execute judgment on all the judgments on all the gods of Egypt. The Elohim of Egypt, by the way, is what it says. But even here, no specific gods are named. No plagues are tied to individual deities. The statement appears only once during the final plague. Critical scholars generally read this as generally, wow, there's a double word there. Generally read this as general theological rhetoric, not a detailed polemic. So there's no polemic in the Bible itself, these people railing against these people. And the Bible is full of polemics. These people don't like these people. One of the big polemics in the Bible is the Yahweh people don't like the Baal people. We'll get into that later. It's Yahweh, 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 not Baal. And Baal and Yahweh are always fighting. Whereas we have some evidence that Yahweh may have been a Baal, because Baal is a title, it's not a name. There's Baal this and Baal that and Baal that. Baal is a title like Lord. So Lord Johnson and Lord, Robertson and Lord and Baal is the same. Baal is not the name of a god. It's a title. No specific gods are named. No place. Okay, we already did that. So the Bible is full of polemics. So trust me, no one who's writing the Bible, if they had an axe to grind, they would not give up that juicy, delicious opportunity to hurl a polemic in there. They had an opportunity to hurl in 10 polemics to really drive their point home. If that were the case, if that is what the scribes had in their minds, they would have used it. Clearly, they did not have that in their minds. Clearly, that is not what the Bible writers are saying. Clearly, this is a modern invention. Each plague attacks the God idea is modern. The detailed chart often seen in sermons or apologetics, such as, they have charts of it. The Christians made up charts, totally made it up. They made up charts. Nile to blood, that's the god Happy. Frogs, that's the goddess Heket. Darkness, that's the sun god Ra. Livestock disease, that's Hathor, because the cow is not ancient. The detailed chart, this is not ancient. Scholars traced most of these pairings to 19th to 20th century Christian writers, especially popular apologetic literature. The connections are arbitrary. Many gods had multiple domains, like they don't even fit. Some pairings are anachronistic. In other words, the timing is off. Happy was the Nile god, but the Nile turning red does not resemble a mythological defeat of Happy. Heket, the frog goddess, was associated with fertility and birth, not frogs overrunning the land. Ra, whoever made this up, is not well studied in Egyptology. Ra and darkness, and knows that the Christians will not be either, and knows that the Christians will not go and study anything that they're not told to go and study, except for the free Christians like us, or people who are deconstructing and now understand what's going on, or have deconstructed, or view these things differently than how we did when we were under the spell, hypnotic spell of religion. Ra and darkness is a loose symbolic association, but Egyptian mythology already contained solar eclipses and nightly solar journeys. So in other words, the matches often feel forced. Of course they're forced because they're totally made up. Egyptologists rarely support the theory. The theory is not supported by Egyptologists, okay? Many Egyptologists say the plague god matching reflects a misunderstanding of Egyptian religion. That's precisely what I thought too. Christians who do not understand Egyptian religion and who want to just look how great God is. He's 1-to-1 taking out the Egyptian gods. That's ridiculous. Egyptian gods had overlapping domains. Egyptian gods could represent cosmic principles, not just natural phenomena. Very true. It goes beyond natural phenomena. We're usually not and Egyptian gods were not usually defeated by disasters. Just because the Nile River flooded didn't mean that the Nile god Happy was defeated because the Nile River flooded. Ancient Egyptian texts describing disasters do not portray them as victories over gods. What scholars actually think the plagues are doing. Here's what critical scholarship tends to see the plagues as one of these three things. You tell me what you think of each of these three. Let's look at what each of these three are and what critical scholars say about the plagues. A Yahweh versus Pharaoh narrative. That's what I said. It's political and religious propaganda. This conflict is primarily between Yahweh and a pharaoh. Why would you're God of the entire universe? You got pharaohs and kings all over this whole place. Why are you so dead set against this one man? Knock him out, like you did all the other people that you've been unaliving all along. You're never concerned to make someone know I'm this. You would just knock them off. You just knocked off tons of people in the flood. Knocked off tons of people in the flood. Supposedly, you knocked off tons of people in Sodom and Gomorrah already. Supposedly, you knocked off Lot's wife just because she turned around and looked back. Salt. You already knocked off tons of people. So why would it be strange? I don't like this Pharaoh. Knock him off. It's weird. Pharaoh himself was viewed as divine in Egyptian ideology, so the plagues undermine his authority. The story repeatedly says, so that you may know that I am Yahweh. This is directed at Pharaoh, not Egyptian gods. His fight is with his beef is with Pharaoh in this story, which shows you that this is a very human story written by humans, because the humans in this story have beef with other humans, and they want to say that God is the author of confusion when we all know that's not the case. B, a cosmic decreation motif. Some scholars see the plagues reversing creation order, especially echoing Genesis. Examples sometimes suggested creation order, waters ordered, plague reversal now becomes chaos. Creation order, animals multiply, plague reversal, frogs become destructive. Creation order, light created, plague reversal, darkness. This theory is debated but has more textual support than the deity theory. I don't know if I go with that one. That one does not hold water to me. Pardon the Nile River references. Pardon the pun. C, a literary pattern of escalation. Ooh, we like literary patterns. Let me lean in so I can put this in my books. 333, climax. Wait a minute. Is this three-part story structure like we read in Save the Cat for all of us who are writing books and novels and stories? The plagues form a structured narrative cycle. Ooh, this could be a narrative pattern in ancient Near Eastern literature. That would be very intriguing to me as a writer. Scholars often note the 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus climax pattern. I like that. Okay, let's look at it. So let's see if this theory holds water. 1 through 3, cycle 1 through 3, no warning, Aaron acts, the pattern. Cycles 4 through 6, Moses warns Pharaoh. Cycles 7 through 9, formal warning before Pharaoh. Cycle 10, climactic judgment. It's the 333 climax. Oh, maybe this looks like careful literary design, not a list of anti God polemics. Even many Christian scholars reject the God target theory. Interestingly, many modern evangelical scholars now say the same thing you observe. They note the Bible never connects plagues to individual deities. Egyptian religious symbolism does not line up cleanly. The list appears retrofitted. So your conclusion is very reasonable from the standpoint of critical biblical scholarship that each plague defeats a specific Egyptian god. Explanation is mostly apologetic speculation. It is not supported by the biblical text itself. It's nowhere in the Bible. It's not strongly supported by Egyptology. Your observation that the connections often feel like grasping at straws is exactly the criticism many scholars make. There you have it. There you have it. Why are we so adamant about having to make The Bible come from God. Having to make the Bible right. As Dr. Joel Baden says, because we think the Bible is a sacred book, there's a knee-jerk reaction to absolve it of all its errors and sins. This thing is just full of a bunch of errors. That's okay. Hey, we didn't have editors. I can forgive that. What I don't, what I'm not for, is us still unaliving people on these stories. I'm not for that. I'm not for that. I'm also not against it because being against it would be pushing my energy toward against something, which would only strengthen it. I simply withdraw my energy from that. You haven't heard me talk in excess about any of the things that they're doing because I dare not give my energy to it. I withdraw all energy from everything and anything that is not love, and I only forward love on this planet. I only forward a vibration of peace on this planet, and I give my energy to nothing else. No, I'm not going to no anti-war thing. I'm not doing an anti-war because what you fight, what you resist persists. You're pouring energy to it because you're resisting it. You're saying no to it. I'm saying no as a withdrawal, as I turn my attention to it. I'm not giving my attention to that. I am not. I pour love into this world every day. Peace to this world. Peace. Speak peace. Be peace. Emanate peace. If all of us did that, it would be impossible for there to be a war. It would be impossible to be a war. Reverend Evelyn, it's almost embarrassing the things I blindly believed when I was under the transgression belief. Deconstructing my faith has opened my eyes to so many other falsities. And you know what's really interesting, Reverend Evelyn? It's so true. It was like, how did I ever believe this? Yet when I was in it, it seemed like the thing to do. It seemed like the thing to do until we found out and we started taking the cobwebs off. In that, I give you, Reverend Evelyn, and everyone here loads of love and loads of respect and honor because to dismantle your own belief system is one of the hardest things in the world to do. That's why people don't do it. When their mind is is confronted, or when there's something that presents itself to us, our human instinct, because humans, we don't like change. Our human instinct can be to just no, an instant resistance. And maybe I've had instant resistance before. And later on, I had to really sit that thing, it was a seed and it got implanted in there and it kept growing. And I started asking more and more questions. Well, I was asking questions ever since I was a little girl. And I promise you, I heard something from a sis that I love on YouTube, on TikTok the other day. And this is what she said: deconstructing is for grown folks. Deconstructing is for people who take themselves on at a very high level. Deconstructing is not for wimps. Deconstructing is for people who have always had a straight back and who have always questioned things. Deconstructing is not for everybody. This shit is hard. And if we don't think this is hard, and I don't ever really like to use the word hard, I'll use it for this. Like unpacking all this in your own consciousness and then facing family members, church members, all the people in our lives, because we had built a whole life around this thing, all the people in our lives that were still in it, all my Jehovah's Witness family, including my beloved mother who's now in the realm of ancestors and has a different perspective. All these things that we are doing, that's why when you deconstruct, I salute you. I honor you. I respect you because you are doing something that challenges the very foundations of your very beingness. We built our lives on these things. I had a whole Jehovah's Witness life. And one day I looked up and said, who the fuck's life is this? I don't want this life. I had a whole JW life. Regular pioneer, knocking on doors with my baby in tow, serving Jehovah, who is this same Yahweh that can't even remember that he killed the animals 3 times. Can't even remember. So I feel you, Reverend Evelyn. I said all that to say I feel you. I feel you. And this is why I am committed to tools, resources, rituals, teaching, sharing what I've learned for anyone on the deconstruction journey, because I didn't have very many people in my, actually, there was no one when I was deconstructing. When I left Jehovah's Witnesses, I was biting my nails because there was no one. I felt like I was being cast out into a void, floating in space. Had no other friends than the JW people. Let me end with a story. This story is profound. Here was one of the big cracks in the armor that the Jehovah's Witnesses had put around me. Big crack in the armor. Her name is Kitty. And to this day, I thank Kitty and I think about Kitty. Kitty was the person who was in a business with me. Now, they would let you do business things with certain people if you had to, certain people at your job, but you certainly couldn't go hang out with them socially because bad association spoils will have. It's 1 Corinthians 15:33. The Jehovah's Witnesses spout that all the time because we're supposed to be so clean and pure and we can't be degraded by anybody in the world. That's how they keep you in a cult situation, even though you're walking around among people all day. They still put an invisible barrier. They will still install an invisible barrier between you and anyone else. And you literally will act like those people are lepers and have the plague because they're going to be destroyed at Armageddon. It's so bizarre. It is the most insane thing. Anyway, Kitty was working with me in a business. I had a business, and my brother-in-law, who was also a Jehovah's Witness, everybody in my world was a Jehovah's Witness. This was my husband's brother at the time. My husband that I am currently divorced from, have been divorced from for many years. We've been divorced. Oh my goodness, probably coming up, probably 30 years we've been divorced. My husband that I was married to is now a circuit overseer. That's his jam, not mine. His brother, who is also now in the realm of the ancestors, he passed on at a very young age. He was only like in his 40s. He had a heart attack and he passed on. It was very tragic. It was very tragic. He had 3 small children. It was so tragic. From my sister-in-law, from my nieces, my 2 nieces and my nephew. It was very tragic. Anyway, my brother-in-law, before he had passed away, he had introduced me to network marketing. And because it came from my brother-in-law, I could do it because he was a witness and I was a witness. If someone who was not a witness had introduced it to me, probably where I was in my consciousness, then I probably would not have accepted it. Because it came from my brother-in-law, it came from a trusted source. He was a ministerial servant, or maybe by that time he might have been an elder when he told me about it. And so he and I were working together. He taught me all about business and things like that. We were always entrepreneurial minded, me and my husband, which was his brother. So my brother-in-law and I were working this business. And it was like, wow, my brother-in-law and I, we always had a good relationship ever since I was like 16, 17. I actually used to have long conversations with my brother-in-law, who was going to be my brother-in-law, because I knew them for like 7 years before we got married. Because, we all grew up Jehovah's Witnesses, and all these different congregations all around. They were on the east side, and we were on the west side in Manhattan, Harlem, USA. They went to Lexington Congregation. Lexington Congregation is on Lexington Avenue on the east side in Harlem. And we went to Manhattanville Congregation, and Manhattanville was on the west side on Broadway and 151st Street. I still remember all the spots. So so you knew all the kids in the different congregations that were anywhere near you, because we would go roller skating together, we would do bowling together, all the wholesome activities that you're supposed to be doing together as Jehovah's Witnesses. It's a whole thing. So therefore, that's why you are never really around people unless you go to school with them, but you can't talk to them. Don't even talk to them at lunch. Have lunch with other witnesses. Like, wow, the exclusion level of this thing is Mach 10 hair on fire. So here, me and my brother had been talking for years. So I give you that context to understand that it wasn't out of the blue that my brother-in-law and we had a great conversation relationship. And I actually miss Tony quite a bit. And knowing that he's in the realm of the ancestors is just beautiful. And even though his passing was That was a hard one. It was very difficult. It was because it was so sudden. It was like Tony was out of here like that. And we couldn't believe it. Like, Tony is gone. Like, one day he was walking around, the next day he was out of here. And when he passed, this was a thought I had. He did what he came to do. And I was still a witness, or it's kind of still in the witness world when he passed. It, or it's kind of understanding the witness world. I might have started my, you know, exit. Anyway, Tony told me about network marketing, and I got into this network marketing company, and it was for health. It was called Rexall Showcase International, RSI. I still remember my first network marketing company in my late 20s. And we were, going around helping people lose weight. We had this product. It was like fiber, and it would lower your cholesterol. Because I've been in health and wellness, passionate about that for 30 something years, right? So that's why the Wellness Club works so well for me. If you want to know more about the Wellness Club, it's at valerielove.com. Right on the first page. Roll down, you'll see the info for the Wellness Club, because I see it in the comments. People ask me for the Wellness Club info. So here I was in this business, and we were helping people lose weight, and we were helping people, lower their blood cholesterol, because it was this insoluble fiber. And I learned all about gut health and this and that and other, and the good bacteria and all that. And I was loving it. I was loving it, like I was eating this stuff up. And so there were people that we were talking to who were worldly. We couldn't keep it just Jehovah's Witnesses, right? Like, no, you can't join because you're not a Jehovah's Witness. We couldn't do that. They did allow you, if you had a business and this was your livelihood, of course, you could talk to people like in the neighborhood and things like that. Well, a person joined my business. She enrolled with me. She became, I recruited her. Her name was Kitty. Kitty was worldly, according to Jehovah's Witnesses. Kitty's life was so beautiful and blessed. Kitty was she was outstanding. She was this wonderful person. And I'm like, look how deep in the brainwashing I was. How can you be such a wonderful person and you're worldly? Well, because we were taught they're all wicked. All the people that are not Jehovah's Witnesses are wicked, and they're going to die at Armageddon. So don't be with them, otherwise they're going to bring you down too. I was intrigued by her. I was intrigued. How could you be living such a good life? Because in the witness world, you cannot imagine the brainwashing that they teach you, that you cannot have a good life outside of Jehovah's Witnesses. You'll just be trash, or probably being on drugs somewhere in the gutter. They don't say that, because somebody's going to come in the comments and say, oh, Jehovah's Witnesses don't say that. They don't say that specifically, that if you leave Jehovah's Witnesses, you're going to have a horrible life. They do something even worse. They unconsciously implant it. They don't say it, because if they said it, you would reject it, because you would think that's ridiculous. They do something even worse. They unconsciously, they implant it in your subconscious mind. That's what they do. They're continually working on your subconscious mind in all these places where you go, these religions and these spheres where you go. That's why you better be very careful. You better be very careful. And I'm looking at Kitty. So one day I went to Kitty's house because Kitty was having some kind of business thing. It wasn't social by any means. Kitty was having this business thing, and I needed to go over there and talk to her people, like, some people from her workplace. She had this great job. She was getting paid all this money. She lived in a beautiful apartment. You open the door to her apartment, it was like, what? Now, I always kept a beautiful apartment in New York City, because that's kind of the kind of person that I am. I'm deep into, home decor and all that. So everywhere I am, my kids and everyone who knows me knows Valerie is going to have this put together. Plus, I'm a Libra, so you know how Libras are. We got to have our art and our beauty and our soft cushions, and we got to have our luxuries. That's just what we do. Continuing. So Kitty had this beautiful place, and I'm looking around like, whoa. Kitty had a husband, a wonderful relationship. Kitty had her life together. Kitty was killing it in the game. And I had never had and that close of a relationship with a person that was not one of Jehovah's Witnesses, and their life was all the way together. Now we had family. Of course, we had family and we would go to see the family, but we had blinders on because the family, they're not witnesses, so we can be with them a little bit, but not a lot. Go to the little once a year family reunion, but don't be careful. And while you're there, try to get all of them to be Jehovah's Witnesses. So we weren't around people to the extent that you would like be hanging out in their houses, that you would know about their relationships. We weren't in deep relationships with people that were worldly because we were in deep relationships with everybody that was in the cult. That's what a cult does. The same thing that an abusive mate does. They separate you, divide and conquer. Kitty, she was an affront to everything they were teaching in Jehovah's Witnesses. She was an affront. I was trying to square it, and I couldn't square it. I couldn't square that someone would have such a great life and they're not a witness. And they don't think about the paradise, and they don't know anything about Psalm and all these scriptures that you keep telling people they're going to live forever in Revelation 21, 3 and 4. And they don't know anything about all of that. And they're living a wonderful life. Is that possible? You see, spirit was breaking up the structures that were in my mind, yet the structures cannot be broken up like that. That's a tower experience in the tarot. When you get a lightning bolt from heaven and it destroys your whole jam all at once, very painful. And usually, unless you really need that, that will not be the first route spirit takes. Spirit, your higher self, universe, consciousness, whatever you desire to call it, yes, whatever it is that is leading you somewhere higher, the inspiration. It because I talk to atheists too, and I love atheists. It doesn't even have to be a person or a personage or a spirit or any of that. It can be consciousness. We can keep it scientific. It can be consciousness. It can be God. It can be Jesus. It can be anything you want it to be. It could be Obatala. It could be any of that. It's any and all of that and more. It will not, whatever that is, or we could call it life, capital L, that's teaching us lessons, that's bringing karma. Something's doing something. So however you relate to it and whatever you call it is up to you. That is what I'm talking about. I call it source, consciousness, infinite consciousness. This thing is helping us get somewhere. It's like your intuition is telling you the truth at all times. There's something in you, around you, for you, that's helping you. It's lifting you. It's teaching you. It's showing you truth. It's guiding you. It's showing you the best way to go. Now, most of us, we're in our head most of the time, so we're not listening to that thing. So I have to really tune in to this inner guidance. What is this thing telling me? And it was telling me, get the hell out of Dodge. Get out of here. No, my family's here. Yep. Get out. But my husband's here. Yep. But what about the kids? Get out. Oh my God. What about my mom and my dad? Get out of Dodge. And it never changed his mind. It was just like a no. Like, this is not for you. Move along. So it was just, and it was just continual. Like, no, this is not for you. And usually, this thing that helps us doesn't go for the jugular right away. It'll wean us, it'll draw us, it'll speak in whispers first, and then it's going to turn up the volume. You're not listening? Okay, we need to turn up the volume. Like Oprah said, first it's a whisper, then it's a feather on your shoulder, then it's a slap, then it's a brick on your head. And it escalates if you're not paying attention. So it doesn't usually come first with the tower experience where it just smashes your whole life apart. Getting your whole life smashed apart is not necessary. This is coming from a person who's had that many times. My whole shit just smashed to smithereens. That's not necessary. That's because I didn't listen to number one, number two, number three, number four, number 17 message, number 99 message, and now we on 100. And my ancestors be like, spat, okay, now you get the slap down because we just can't get you any other way. And you're about to hurt yourself and do something really crazy. Smack down. And what does a smackdown look like? A divorce, financial ruin, in the hospital, an accident, relationship breakup, divorce. Oh, just, it can look like any number of things. You don't have to have the slap down, the smack down. You don't have to have it. You don't have to have the tower experience with the lightning bolt coming for your head and ousting you out of your tower of beliefs and you fire all that. You don't have to have all that. Just be in alignment. Just listen and go with that flow of your inner being, the essence of who you truly are. Go with that flow of that. And how can you go with it? It's because what you love. It's because it's what is joyful. It's lighthearted. It's enchanting. It's fulfilling. It's uplifting. Just follow that in everything. That's all I follow. Well, how am I going to make money? Or how am I going to do this? Or how am I going to do that? It's going to take care of you. It takes care of everything. It takes care of everything. Just follow this. And people are like, well, I can't do what I love because I have to make money. How's that working out for you? Well, I'm driving Uber. Oh, I'm at a job. I'm an engineer. I make $125,000 a year and I hate it. Okay. Would you like to do something different, beloved? Or would you like to stay where you are? Because you don't have to do something different. You don't. Do you know how many lawyers, engineers, doctors, professors I have worked with over the years? They're like, Reverend Val, I'm a professor. That was Dr. Denise Bacchus, also known as Queen Hadassah, who is initiated in the Christian Witches Mystery School, has a whole new life. Dr. Denise Bacchus, when I first met her, 6 figures, an incredible house, Mercedes, all the designer purses, professor, super smart, degrees on degrees on degrees, not happy, life falling apart. Not anymore. She knows. Same with Dr. Madeline, Dr. Jatea Wiley. First met her making 6 figures at her good government job. 6 figures at her good government job. Beautiful house, better house than anybody. First person to go to college and get all the degrees she got. She had 5 degrees. You know, this associates, this bachelor's, double masters, all these things. Super smart, super beautiful, super amazing. Big, beautiful house. Miserable. Big, beautiful house. Miserable. Beamer in the driveway. Miserable. Go to her house every day. Every time we go to her house, the house is so beautiful. 50 Buddhas. Buddha over there, decorated beautifully because Dr. Jatea can do some decorating. Oh my goodness. You now know her as Harmony. She has a sacred name, Total Transformation. Total Transformation. Total Transformation. Right now in Money Magic, we have lawyers, engineers, total transformation. Because just like I was, financial advisor, American Express, making money, prestige, houses, this, that, the other, not happy. Why? Not following the thing that is the happiness ball inside of you. Yes, like this for me. That's how I can come on here and talk to y'all for hours. It's my happy place. And guess what? The second is not my happy place anymore. I'm going to be in my happy place, whatever that is. Writing books, that's my happy place. People are like, I can write 26 books. I'm just getting started. I'm just getting warmed up. I'm probably going to write 100, 150. I can write hundreds of books. And now with AI helping me, baby, I can write books in my sleep. I'm not going to let the AI write the book for me. I'm going to let it help me. I have an assistant now. I could be even bigger and better. What? Because I would never let AI write a book and I just throw it out there to people. That would be ludicrous. Not with my name on it. No, that would not happen. I am a writer. So I just got to tell you, this has been quite a wild ride. And what lifts me, what serves me, what helps me, what empowers me, What wakes me up in the morning is the purpose that is my happy place within me, writing the next book, teaching the next thing on YouTube, sharing with people, learning, growing, inspiring, and sharing. It's my happy place. It's what I love. And I have found in this life, do what you love. Because if you're miserable, for what? For what? For what? What is it getting you? Mm-mm, mm-mm. Follow your joy. Follow, you know, when they say follow your bliss, it's a simple 3 word sentence. Follow your bliss. That is it right there. Follow your bliss. I love you. I'll see you tomorrow. Mwah. Peace.